All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Carolina Panthers in today's video because they are not messing around. They started off with a phenomenal free agency period, and then they cap off the offseason with a great draft. And, I know a lot of us kind of felt we're hoping for this to happen. Are they going to go offense? Are they going to go defense? They go with Ted McMillan at pick number 8. He falls onto their lap. This is going to be wide receiver number 1. And no disrespect to any of the wide receivers Bryce Young has had in his Panther tenure, but this is a talent he has not had. That is how good Ted is. And, he got kind of screwed in the draft. This was like a consensus, like the 4th pick in the draft. Like 2 months ago, every single person before Stephon Diggs, went to New England, everyone had the 4th pick overall, Ted, going to the New England Patriots because that's how good of a wide receiver he was. And then, a quote got dropped from something he said like 2 or 3 years ago, and his draft stock kind of fell, and GMs were reportedly worried about his work ethic and his effort and his energy level and blah, blah, blah. And he falls right onto your lap at pick number 8. And then you go out there, you get your 2 edge rushers in the 2nd and 3rd round, 2 absolute studs. I'm extremely excited about my Florida guys, Lathan Ransom, Trevor Etienne, Cam Jackson, maybe the most undervalued or kind of underrated move of the draft, specifically like, in the later 3 rounds. Mitchell Evans, I'm really excited about. I know his stats aren't too crazy over at Notre Dame. And I know Carolina's tight end room's a little bit interesting, but folks, we're going to run through this. But before we do, welcome back to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. We make so many Panthers videos this whole offseason because Bryce Young is way better than people think. And if Carolina didn't have the worst rush defense in like the 4th worst rush defense since 2000 in the last 25 years, Carolina would have been way better. And it's crazy because of all the dysfunctionality they had at the quarterback position in the first month of the season, and as how bad as that defense was in that rush department, it's kind of crazy Carolina was able to win 5 games, because if they played how they played in the last month of the season, folks, I'm telling you, people are just disrespecting the daylights out of this Panthers team. So Ted had 174 catches for 2,721 yards, including 18 total touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. Now, his production, that's unbelievably impressive. Unbelievably. Now, where people kind of are getting held up is they're getting a little bit too cute. They're getting a little bit too fancy because the draft's only once a year. And so you have these people, making their scouting reports, and they're watching the film, and they also don't even really know what they're looking for. Not everybody knows what they're looking for. And so you have these people and say, well, his route running's a little bit rough. It's a little bit rough. But then when you factor in, well, he's going to the NFL. He's going to a world-class NFL wide receiver room. If his route running's a little bit rough right now, by the end of his rookie season, the hope is, and I just like kind of the assumption is that's not going to be the case. But he's good, he's fast, he's great in 50-50 balls, and that is what Bryce Young has been missing. He's been missing a guy as good as Adam Thielen is. We talked about this a couple of days ago. As good as Adam Thielen is, Ted is just a big body. He's going to go up there on 50-50 balls, and he's going to bring them down at an 80-20 rate. So I don't overthink this move. I know Jalen Walker was available. I know other defensive guys were available, but you addressed it in free agency first off, and then in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the draft. And you also have to just keep in mind, Adam Thielen is 34 years old. All right, Nick Sproutton. This is a fascinating, amazing move because I love SEC football players. Now, Nick was 285 pounds after the season began, and people were concerned. He spent the offseason to this point working on his weight. So he went from 285 pounds all the way down to 257. And he said he's stronger, he's quicker, he's faster, he feels better, his diet's changed, he just feels way better. And he does not think that the weight during the season had anything to do with his slight drop in sack production. He said it had to do with the system, and that losing the weight has better prepared him for the NFL. So he has already been getting to work, and he already has the physical aspects to be a 3-down defensive edge rusher in the NFL. Now, he's not the best rush defensive guy, so that is maybe slightly an issue, but once again, he's a rookie, and they don't necessarily need him to be a 3-down starter day one or week one of the season. Over the past 2 seasons, his 91.7 PFF pass rush grade against true pass sets charted in the 94th percentile. So you're going up against SEC offensive lines, SEC offenses, and you're proving that you can hit that quarterback. That to me is an NFL caliber player. And then we get to one of my favorite guys, because one of my buddies is a huge Florida Gator fan. And so we have Princely Umanmielen here, who's an edge rusher out of Mississippi, but he spent his first couple of years of college at the University of Florida. So this is another edge rusher. 32 years old is how old Jadeveon Clowney is. And it's a little bit interesting because last Friday, when asked about Clowney's future, your GM Dan Morgan said that the roster is in under evaluation. So not a very good, strong vote of confidence there. Clowney only had 5.5 sacks in 2024, and he's got almost a $14 million cap hit for this season. So these two moves in the second and third round, these two edge rushers kind of feel like the mark of a new era starting over in Carolina. I would not be surprised if Clowney is cut before the season begins. Round 4, 111, Trevor Etienne. I won't spend too much time on this. Once again, another SEC guy. He's the younger brother of Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. He's very good in return game, and he's just going to be a good guy to join an already really good running back room in Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. And, it's just kind of assumed at this point that Jonathan Brooks, unfortunately, probably will not be coming back this season. And, Etienne solid, Georgia guy, SEC player, love it. And then round 4, 122, 11 picks after that, you got Lathan Ransom, safety out of The Ohio State University. I love this for 2 reasons. First off, Ohio State won the national championship. It's also a proven organization, college football team, just sports team in general for college. But they also needed safety help. So no more Xavier Woods, and you need somebody to start along Trevon Moehrig, who joined you guys in free agency. This was a 5-year player at Ohio State. He appeared in 56 games and was going against some of the best competition. He doesn't have like crazy intangibles, crazy attributes, but he does have really good rush defense. He's got really good strength. He's quick. He's agile. So I like that move. And then I got to talk about my 2 favorite value moves of the entire draft, both in the 5th round. You guys had a phenomenal end to your draft. Cam Jackson, nose tackle out of Florida. So once again, the Panthers gave up 180 rushing yards per game. So it was by far the NFL's worst rush defense. This is exactly what Cam Jackson is going to provide you next season. He's 6'6", 328 pounds, and all he does is clog the interior. So you're not drafting him for sacks, you're drafting him for rush help, and this is another SEC product who has been battle tested against SEC amazing quality competition. And then finally, Mitchell Evans, and I like this because I'm a Notre Dame football fan, 6'5". He's 6'5", 260. All right. So he's just bringing your tight end room a lot more versatility because you already have Tommy Tremble. You also have JT Sanders, last year's 4th round pick, who had a really good couple of games catching the football. So I just like, another tight end in that offense, and then another nose tackle, another defensive lineman for that rush defense. So folks, maybe this is a little bit shooting the gun here, but I got to give the Carolina Panthers at least an A for their draft. And that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for almost 2 videos a week on the Panthers. But most importantly, give me your favorite draft down below, and then give me your, kind of hidden gem, back pocket favorite guy down below. Peace.